The bee industry there is slowly recovering after the deadly black summer bushfires. The rare Ligurian bees have to be fed while flowering plants regrow, and thousands of burnt hives have to be replaced. That's where a band of mainland volunteers has stepped in. Adelaide reporter Claire Campbell has the story.
Life is good on these pristine beaches of Kangaroo Island. But the local beekeepers are still recovering after serious bushfires devastated much of the community.
It's been the biggest event for the beekeepers on Kangaroo Island since the last 5 decades Dad's been beekeeping. Half of the island being burnt is a huge impact for the industry.
Kangaroo Island is considered a bee sanctuary and home to one of the world's purest strains, the Ligurian bee. It's believed to be one of the last places in the world where the Ligurian bee remains.
We've got this beautiful environment, we have all this native vegetation that is available to make the honey. The bees are extremely important. They are a rare species that is only found on Kangaroo Island.
Keeping bees runs in Bev Nolan's family. Her dad started beekeeping as a hobby in the 1970s. As demand for honey soared and wool prices plummeted, it became his livelihood. Now his daughters and grandchildren are also hands-on in keeping the farm going.
How's it been going in here today, Vicky?
Things good today, Bev. Very good.
From a few jars of honey in the back of our house to now having a shop where we have visitors from pre-COVID from all over the world.
Before coronavirus, the family's shop attracted thousands of visitors a year, eager to taste the unique flavours of KI honey or the famous honey ice cream.
Right, you're about to go through the front. Drop your fire curtains on the sides, over.
In January 2020, bushfires tore through half of Kangaroo Island. 2 people died and nearly 90 homes and farms were destroyed. Thousands of beehives were burnt and honey production reduced to a trickle.
Our production before fires would be probably about 3 or 4 times more than what we've been getting. We've recently collected about 1 tonne of honey and our normal production would be about 3 tonnes for a harvest of honey.
Domestic and international exports have halted and even farm shop sales are limited. When the fires were raging, Mick Gerson had no time to move his hives. He lost nearly everything and every bee. A decade of hard work was destroyed.
We lost probably about 500 hives with bees in them and about 200 hives and equipment that we were about to put bees in, and all our equipment for breeding queens and the nuke hives and everything, we lost all of that. So we're sort of starting from scratch again.
Hey Mick.
G'day Claire.
Thanks for having us.
Since then, Mick Gerson's been rebuilding his operation.
Looks good.
So this is going to be basically the beekeeping shed. It's going to be our packing room eventually.
But re-establishing his bee stock and hives is a much longer process. Most of Mick Gerson's work so far has been keeping the few bees that survived alive. This sugar syrup is replacing the pollen and nectar the bees would usually source from the island's flowers.
We've had to learn how to feed our bees, which is something that we've never done before in the 10 years that I've been doing it.
He started rebreeding his queen bees. Because the Ligurian bee is unique to Kangaroo Island and disease-free, all rebreeding must occur on the island.
The actual process of from grafting a queen to when I put a queen cell into one of these nukes is actually 10 days, and then it takes up to a month before it goes from those nukes into one of these bottom boxes by the time it builds up strong enough to actually go into a bottom box.
So it's quite a process then.
Quite a process, takes a long time.
Bees only breed inside a hive, and making the replacement for 1,000 burnt hives is also time-consuming, particularly when tough biosecurity rules prohibit replacement hives coming from the mainland.
Come Maggie, let's go. Come on, over here. We can't buy any second-hand gear and bring over here, so basically everything has to be brand new, and we have to basically build it over here, so it's just another challenge. We can't buy bulk things or second-hand things that are made on the mainland and bring over. We have to make it all ourselves.
That's where this group of beekeepers from Adelaide is stepping in. Every few months, working around COVID lockdowns, they travel to the island, helping to make the boxes and frames for Mick Gerson and other beekeepers. It's help that has saved local apiarists thousands of hours' work.
What they can do in a day would take me a week or two, just the numbers of people that are there, and just, 8:30 they're ready to work until 5. I kept trying to knock them off at 4 o'clock and they kept going till 5. I'm ready for a beer by 4.
They haven't got the time to stand around making 2,000-3,000 frames. They're too busy trying to get their businesses up and going again. So it's invaluable. It's invaluable. So we just feel so pleased to be able to help in this area. Half the boxes that have already been made are already active with bees.
These boxes are assembled from flat pack, marked for the individual apiarist and dipped in hot wax before the frames are put inside and turned into a beehive.
I can assure you all the beekeepers that have gained from the effort that we've all put in are just tremendously heartfelt thankful. There was approximately 1,000, just over 1,000 hives destroyed by fire, and as a result of their insurance claims, they're getting back the material for the boxes, and we're assembling it for them.
G'day, Bob. How's it going today?
How are you?
Good. Good to see you.
The physical help's invaluable and likely to continue, but equally important is the emotional support and friendship these visits provide.
I've got to say, out of the 27 people that have come over here, there's been perhaps 35, 40-odd friendships that have been made. Yeah, it's a reciprocal give and take situation. And I suppose the saying is, what goes round comes round.
Fires incinerated much of the native vegetation where the bees collected their pollen and nectar. Until the flowers regrow and provide that food source, the Kangaroo Island honey industry will suffer. It's expected to take between 5 and 10 years to fully recover. Until then, it's forcing those in the industry to think outside the box.
The main thing will be really thinking outside the square on what flowers that we can perhaps grow with the farmer, working with farmers that can put flowers in for bees. Just on our property, we've got some safflower as a summer flowering crop. We hadn't thought of that before.
So does that mean we might see some new flavours of honey come out of this?
I think so, absolutely. Yeah, so I definitely think we can be working towards some other options to keep these special bees going.
Sean Hinvey's only started beekeeping when he moved to Kangaroo Island and wanted to become self-sufficient. That quickly grew to more than 200 hives.
Not only did we lose, I guess you'd say, half of the island, but on that half of the island is majority of the highly productive sites.
How are the bees looking?
They're still struggling to find some honey.
Sean Hinveys and his wife Anthea regularly deliver honey to the mainland when times are good. But because of the bushfires have scaled right back, and so has their income.
We run out of honey, and so we've managed to find enough to get a delivery going, and that's still only running at around about 700 kilo. Before we used to sell around about 1.5 tons of honey to the mainland a month. That has now dropped significantly. Like we're probably between half and 3/4 less than that.
Alrighty, so I get a suit.
You get a suit, put your suit on, makes it nice and easy to get on. They got legs that zip up.
They felt they had just one option: diversify into one of the island's biggest industries, tourism, turning their business into a beekeeping experience to get up close and a bit too personal with Ligurian bees. And it's proving profitable.
Everyone loves their bees, or loves bees in general, and they are very much a gimmicky thing right now. Every household wants to have their own hive, And we thought, well, what great idea is to share people with what we actually do, so they get a bit of an insight as to what we do as beekeepers, not just in the field, but also in the extraction room, the packing room, and it gives them a bit of a taste of what beekeeping can be really like.
And it's been going well?
It's been going really well. Yeah, we've actually surprised at the uptake of people coming through.
Beekeeping has long been part of the Kangaroo Island farming landscape, and these people hope it will be again.
We have the Ligurian bee genetics, and they are special. You know, we are a bee sanctuary. The bees here are protected, and many of us feel very responsible to care for that and to look after them and to preserve what we have here. You know, who knows what the future holds worldwide with the bee diseases and pests that we have. We're relatively safe here.
It's so important that we can help each other to get these special bees back on track. I think they're in safe hands. There's a lot of great work going on with the people here. We're not giving up, and we'll just keep going till they fully recover and learn from all what happened, and hopefully never happen again, that sort of level of fires.
Next week on